Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPwatercooler's WPBlab. Today's episode is episode number 74. Today's topic is nonprofit event marketing on social tips and tricks. So we're going to talk a little bit about social media, how to do some fun stuff with it. We don't have anybody to introduce yet again, Bridget.
That's okay. We have plenty of time to talk. I mean, you actually have been really innovative lately on our own event marketing. So I'm kind of interested in what you had to say with all these tools that you discovered, like Facebook Live and that new tool you did today, plus the video tool with the captions. I mean, that's
right. Some fun stuff.
Yeah, really fun and inexpensive. And if it's inexpensive, we know it's good for nonprofits.
Exactly. Just want to let you know, in case you're listening this in the car or something like that, I am in fact not sad. I'm actually pretty happy right now. The problem is that I have a cough and have this cough that has pretty much killed my voice. So if you could look around here, it looks like it's snowing. I just have a lot of Kleenex going on and I'm having a hard time. So I'm totally happy, see big smiles and everything, but I'm just, I sound absolutely awful. So I'm not sad. All right. So let's talk a little bit about this stuff. So, like Bridget was saying, nonprofits don't have a whole lot of money for this stuff. They don't have a whole lot of time, energy, the ability to kind of pull off like everything that you need to pull off in order to make this stuff work. So what nonprofits typically do is they find volunteers to help out. As you probably heard in previous episodes, I work at a church and I'm the IT director at the church. And it's a decent sized church, pretty good sized church here in Southern California. And we lean heavily, just like most churches, we lean heavily on our volunteers and hoping that our volunteers will be able to help us out. So one of the ways that we do that is we have a team of volunteers that are our photographers. And we also have a photographer who's on staff, who's an amazing photographer, but obviously she can't be everywhere. So you have photographers running around taking pictures all day long. Well, our photographer is also a social media manager. So not only she run around taking pictures, but she also needs to be able to collect that data that she needs and be able to present it in such a way that people are able to quickly look at it and say, look, I'm at an event. Look, here's a photo of me or of the thing that I'm at currently. I'm sitting here at the event. I'm flipping through Facebook or Instagram and I'm seeing stuff that relates to the thing that I'm at. And that's this day and age, this is the type of thing that people want to see because they want to share that moment that they're having around them. It's like, I want to share this moment with all the people I know on social. Here's how I'm going to do it. Look, there's somebody that's already taking pictures. I'm going to take this and I'm going to spread it out there quick and easy. And so the easiest way for people to be able to find this stuff is to make sure that you're, kind of geocoding this stuff in some way, either saying, this is the event, this is the place I'm at, or you establish a hashtag and you spread that hashtag far and wide as much as you can with the people that are in your organization, as well as the people that are attending the event. So they're all using that same hashtag. That allows you to be able to find that information that you need quickly and easily to either curate it and share it or retweet it or reshare it or ask for permission and regram it, whatever it is you got to do to kind of make that stuff happen. But the main thing is to kind of get that information quickly and easily into the people that are going to be the ones that are going to be posting this stuff on social. And so, there's a lot of stuff you got to do to make that happen.
I know, but here's 3 things that are really easy. Number 1, a smartphone.
Definitely.
There is more computing power on this thing than we use to send the people to the moon. Okay? Men into the space with no oxygen. This has more. Also, a selfie stick to hold said device. This is the Give selfie stick, which I don't use actually that much because I use my hands. But also a tripod with the selfie stick holder.
Yes.
Is helpful if you want to do a promo video like Jason and I did yesterday with Give Live. That way you can not be all shaky on the spot. And then I would also suggest using public-facing social media when you're
Yeah.
promoting an event. Because here's the thing, regramming is actually against the terms of service of Instagram.
Yep.
Terms of service requires original content. But if you text the person, you know, they can share it as their own, you know, that's totally different. But also, this is when I go Twitter, because Twitter is public. Tweets can be embedded in a blog post. So if I take a picture that I'm at this, and the perfect example of events that do this well is WordCamps. There's WordCamps every single weekend. This weekend is Halifax, and Mexico City, and somewhere in Portugal, I think, and Portland, Maine. There's going to be 5 WordCamps this weekend. They're all going to be tweeting with a specific hashtag, and those tweets are public. And you can embed those tweets in, or you can use a aggregating service to aggregate them to display like at the event. But what's great about tweets and Instagram posts, actually, both allow them to be embedded on your blog post, which I'm sure you're going to write blog posts about your event. Because if a nonprofit is having an event, I would say 1 out of every 2 times, or maybe 1 out of every 5 times, between 20 and half, it's for fundraising.
Yes.
Or
definitely.
to get more volunteers, or to get more attendees. But the event doesn't exist in and of itself for itself. So it's good to have some kind of, that's a great way to curate content to share on your web property of the nonprofit in order to continue to motivate your volunteers. Or, this is going to be crazy, to thank them.
What? Thanking them? Yeah, I mean, perfect example of that is this particular show right here. We have volunteers that help us out every week doing our show notes, and we thank them by putting their information into our show notes and saying, hey, I want to say thank you very much for helping us out, you know, with our show notes. Here's the links to, you know, their stuff on Twitter. Here's their name. I'm going to showcase the fact that they're helping us out, and we really appreciate that. So yeah, definitely those types of things are going to be huge, because what's going to happen is those people that drive off of that energy of either being thanked, feeling like they're important, or any of those sorts of things, they're going to want to do this even more, because next time they're going to come back and say, oh, you know, I handed you this SD card, and this SD card had all my photos on it. And you're going to go post them, and hopefully you may end up either, you know, crediting me for every single photo, or just the whole campaign in itself, just saying, you know, photography was provided by blah, 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 blah. And so, you know, for me, for instance, you know, especially when it comes to photography, I know how difficult it is to get all that information together and to get it posted onto the website or whatever the properties that are out there, any of the social stuff. I don't want them putting my name on every single photo, on every single everything. And I definitely don't want to ruin it by putting my name in the photo, like embedded into the photo as well. I don't want any of that. I just want to make sure that at some point they say, hey, thank you very much for helping us out. I really appreciate it. I work at the church. I don't really care if they do it or not, because it's half work and half enjoyment of doing it. So it's fine. But all the other volunteers and stuff, they want to feel like they're a part of something. And
so then there's a couple more tools that brings up. Number 1, Flickr. You can create an event on Flickr. People can join that group and upload, and it can be Creative Commons license. You can choose that. Or number 2, internally, a giant Dropbox folder that everybody has access to that you want to share. Dropbox is like the LinkedIn of cloud storage. Everybody forgets how awesome it is. Even the big personal one that I use for 1 terabyte is $10 a month. It's less than Netflix. It's not even worth writing down my checkbook, except for I like it to be perfectly balanced and quicken. So Dropbox is a great tool. And I know that you had written a blog post, Jason, about a lot of these tools have discounted prices for nonprofits like Google for Work.
Yep.
But before we go too deep into that and we lose some of the questions, Jeff Hester is asking, how is nonprofit event marketing different than for-profit event marketing?
Right here, money. That's typically the thing, is the money side of it, is they don't have the budget to go and put all that energy together, or put all that money together to find the right people, to spend the money with them and say, hey, I need you to be a photographer, do photography. I need you to run around and be a person that's going to interview people and kind of get those moments. And then you're going to have somebody has to run around and collect all the data that relates to who are the speakers, or who are the sponsors, or who are the event people that were there. What time of day did it start? What's the schedule of the events? Hopefully you're getting all this stuff before the event occurs, but a lot of times this stuff just kind of happens on the fly. And so you want to provide good information for people, especially people that are attempting to show up at the event. They're going to look on their social and say, hey, what's going on here? Is this thing still happening? Am I wearing the right kind of clothes? How many people are actually showing up at the event? Am I seeing a crowd? Am I not? All those sorts of things are things that people are going to be looking for.
Yeah, that's actually really important, because somebody like me who goes to things that, well, now I'm like, I feel like a veteran at WordCamps, but I still like, well, what do they wear? And what like the after party's at 5. So does that mean that they're serving dinner? Like you have all these questions. If they're not, you're looking to the website. If you don't have the answers on the event pages, then you might be overburdening your social media person too, because they'll have to. Either way, they're going to be. Listen, I've done about, I don't even know how many, 3 or 4 WordCamps so far. I'm going to get every question that's on the website anyway, but most of the time, I'm reading the website for the answer to.
Right.
So it's good to think about those things, because if I had gone to WordCamp Orange County 2013 and they said, definitely wear tennis shoes, like don't dress to impress, I would have taken that advice, right? So it took me, I don't even know how many WordCamps, so I said, that's it. I'm wearing tennis shoes. I don't care what I look like anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I showed up with heels at least 3 years, and it sucks.
It does suck, but I mean, even sandals, they're not meant for standing.
Oh yeah,
all the standing that you do, or even like I remember the first time I worked at the booth at LA, I was wearing my naturalizers. They had like a 3-inch heel or 2.5, and they're naturalizers, so they're meant to be. They're like the tennis shoes of women's shoes, but standing for 16 hours, that's a whole lot of no.
Yeah.
So I bought my Saucony running shoes, and I've been happy ever since. But so that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you expect? Like, do you have to go to every class? Can you move around from room to room? Do you sit in that room and you have to stay there? What's for lunch? How do I get lunch? Is it included? Like the things that we start taking for granted as we throw these events, those are important things to communicate, because when people feel welcome, then they feel comfortable and they feel like they belong. So another part that's different in nonprofit events rather than for-profit is that hospitality aspect. And I think a lot of that can be done on social media early. Like they bought a ticket, they say, I'm going to this. You can say, you can put them on a list called attendees. I mean, whether it's a WordCamp or a bowling night or anything, whatever it is that you're using, like for the women who WP, we use Meetup, right? So they say, oh, I'm coming to this. And we write them back, we're so excited to see you. We can't wait. Don't forget to do this. Oh, it'll be so great to see you. And then if you have some kind of Meetup thing where it shows their faces, somebody should be a greeter. So that when they come in, and this is, okay, so this is a two-edged advice. First of all, if you're going to something that's public, make your avatar look like you. Thank you. But for the people that are greeting, like I noticed this made a big difference for us. I would say, hey, so-and-so, it's good to see you. Like, because I recognize your face, and then they feel welcome. Because, if they've come 3 times in a row and you don't remember their name, that's on you. So if nonprofits are generally trying to get volunteers, for whatever reason, whether it's a church or an event or like the homeless ministry I used to work in, you can't you can't keep forgetting people's names. Whereas if I'm just going to social media marketing world, or I'm going to a Rolling Stones concert, or I'm going to the Doheny Blues Fest, it doesn't matter if they know my name. I also don't expect them to know my name. I don't expect them to recognize me. I don't expect them to send me a thank you card because I spent $200 on a ticket.
Yep.
Right? There's the expectations of the participants in the nonprofit event are vastly different than a regular event.
I think we talked a lot about during the event, and I think we totally skipped the fact of talking a little bit about the things leading up to the event.
Oh, sorry. I got focused.
No. I totally messed up when I first started talking about it. So it's the, think of it in the beginner's journalism school type of thing of who, what, when, why, where, and how. All of those W's and H. It's like, you got to look at this and say, like, what's this person trying to find? Are they trying to find what this thing is, where it's at, how do I get there, what's involved in it, where is it, why should I show up? Right. All those things, you need to talk about it. So if it's a an opening of a dog park, you got to talk to them and say, the dog park has not only does it cater to large dogs, but it also caters to small dogs. Right. And we have watering facilities and all these different places. You kind of talk about all those things that are there. If it's a library and it's like, let's talk about the various books that are there, how many parking spaces are there, how the money was fundraised. You talk about all that stuff so people kind of get excited about the event that's going to be happening leading up to it. And
who's coming to read the book to the kids, and why are they doing that? And like in-depth interviews and doing blog posts about, why literacy is important in early years, and how you can connect with storytelling and the human experience. I mean, there is so much you could do ahead of it, to sell those tickets. And also, you can use urgency in your marketing because, so when U2 has a concert or whatever, okay, total disclaimer, I think they're the most overrated band ever. I know, I saw that the other day, like everybody I know was at the Rose Bowl sometime last weekend, but I was like, why? Now, if it was the Doors, I would be there, but one of those guys is dead. Anyway, what I'm saying is nobody has to really promote that.
Right. It just happens.
Because everybody wants to go there, right?
Right.
But you don't need that huge push. The tickets go on sale at Ticketmaster, and then they're gone. Boom, done, right? So, but with nonprofit events, it's usually like, oh, a wind string ensemble to benefit the new wing for whatever. And you could go or not go, or you could just write them a check and then not go, right? Yeah. So whether or not you want to be there, there's some factors like, well, if I don't go, I won't have a ticket. Like if you kind of use the urgency in there, or your peers like, well, Jason Tucker's going, why aren't you going? I'm like, oh my gosh, all my friends are at the U2 concert. I don't like U2, but I saw that all my friends are at the U2 concert, right?
That's why like those sites like Eventbrite, when you're done actually paying for the ticket, the last thing it asks you before you're done is, hey, you should tell your friends about it. Not because we want you to feel like you're special because you're going to this event that they're not going to, but we need you to be our marketing person and actually push this out there and say, hey, there's an event that's happening. It's $250 and you need to go to it. And I'm going to it. So obviously you want to go to it as well, because I either made a really great decision with my money or a horrible decision with my money, but you should totally go to it as well. Yeah. And so using those types of tactics, especially if you're a WordPress developer and you're trying to do some type of event-based management of stuff, trying to get people to come to that event, get something that has a little bit of a social push to it that says, hey, I'm so glad that you signed up for this thing. Can you also share this with your friends?
Or even logging in with Facebook or Twitter in order to do that so that they see. I mean, look, I'm going to say a bad word. Everybody will love me. GoFundMe does this well.
Yeah.
For donations, right? It's something that I know that the guys at Give are trying to work on. But you see that so-and-so gave $100 or so-and-so gave $25 or so-and-so, and the fact that it's funny because in elementary school, we teach our kids, Now, don't fall into peer pressure, but look at the line when the iPhone 8 comes out, right? Okay, so that works in our lives. So
Yep.
nonprofits can understand that. That's why a lot of times they'll go for the bigger influencer donor, lack of a better term, or they'll try to get a headliner at a concert. Like, oh, Chris Tomlin's going to be at our church of 20 people. I mean, you know, whatever. So they'll try to do something like that in order to use that sort of fear of missing out factor. So there's the leading up to and having a consistent marketing message for that, reaching out to influencers, and really getting the stories, because all nonprofits exist to help humanity in some way. Even the ones for animals are really helping humanity, because, you know, pets are really part of us, or the world is where we live, so of course we need to have clean air, water, and those things, right? So humanity resonates with storytelling. So even if you have a return event, you could talk about how last year's event went leading up to the ticket sales, right?
And that's where you get all your photos, and that's where you get all your ways of putting all those socials together to push out there and say, hey, here's this event that we went to last year, was awesome.
Yes.
This year's going to be better. Last year's event was, you know, I don't know, some type of theme. This year's event is going to be even better. Here's a type of theme of things that we're going to be doing at the event. And yeah, I mean, photography is huge. This is why on WP Watercooler and on WPBlab, I always put people's faces on stuff. People's faces is the way that people are going to look at this and say, I'm a human too. I totally want to go to this thing.
Yeah.
I have kids. I want to go to this thing. I have a dog. I want to go to this thing. Whatever those things are, they're going to look at it and see faces, and those faces are going to say, yes, I want to be involved in this stuff.
Yep. Yep.
And I'm the kind of person, and pretty much everything that I do when it relates to especially this show and WP Watercooler is I do, I'd say at least 99% of it on my mobile phone, on my iPhone. My iPhone is the way in which I put all this stuff together, which is why on Facebook I left a post yesterday that was like, I don't understand people that can't get work done on an iPhone. Like, you can get your work done on an iPhone. You can even hook up a keyboard to this thing, either, you know, hardwired or use Bluetooth, and be able to type in all the stuff that you need to do. So if you need to get work done, you can totally get work done on one of these guys.
I do it every morning while I'm drinking my coffee in bed.
Yep.
There's a lot. I mean, just the social part of my job. I could do all of that. Check my emails. All that I could do. Drinking my coffee, petting my dog, and then like, okay, I got started. And I'm gonna take a shower and sit at the house computer, because for typing, I really prefer that. But there, I mean, if I didn't need to live tweet during a WordCamp, I would never bring my laptop. There's no reason for it at all, because I can do everything on my phone. My phone with another tool, an external battery. I have a 10,000 milliamp one that I got from Anchor on Amazon.com, I don't know, 3 years ago for $40. The price point is way down now. There's no reason, if you have a purse or a backpack, not to have an extra cord. In fact, I have 3 cords. One is always at my house computer, one is always on my charger in the bedroom, and one is always in my purse, for that exact reason. So you keep your phone charged, and you know, even if you don't, as a volunteer staff, you know, like when you go to weddings, Jason, and they have those disposable cameras. Right. I think I have one that I still need to get developed. That just, they're on the table. I mean, if you have this, I know that you can rent. I know there's cameras for that same purpose, digital, that could be used in an event where people just take pictures and they upload. Also, there is a Polaroid. Polaroid is still a legitimate option. Also, you could get burner smartphones. If your volunteers don't have the tech, you could get burner smartphones and set those up and just have them as almost a library of phones to use that have Dropbox on them that are automatically hooked up to the main person's account. Because I can have my Dropbox constantly uploading.
Yeah.
So as real time as you have 3G or Wi-Fi, you're good to go, you know, with volunteers. Because it's really harder to get the volunteer to volunteer than to staff them with the tech.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Like,
No.
what is your experience of that? Because I feel like getting somebody to volunteer and getting them to feel like they have something to really contribute is much more difficult.
Yeah, I mean the tech, especially when it comes to photography, most people don't understand that you don't have to ever edit every single photo that you take, especially when you're trying to just get this stuff blasted out on social media as fast as possible. You can do all that editing on this. Like you could load up your phone and go, all right, well, I'm gonna download my file to an SD card, or use something like this, which is an SD card to Lightning adapter on it. You plug this guy on the bottom of your phone, you plug the SD card into it, you grab the 20 shots that you need, you load up like something like Snapseed or something like that on your phone, or use the stuff that's built into it, make a couple quick edits and make it look a little bit better, and boom, you're good to go.
So
It's funny that Jeff asks this in the chat room. He's like, who doesn't have a smartphone? Most of the volunteers, the people that are willing to help out, I'm not saying all of them, not saying a little bit of them, but the people are willing to help out. Typically, those are the ones that are like, I don't care what I need to do. I just need to show up and do it. I mean, I went to a WordCamp event where they wanted to help. They wanted to have everybody for the WordCamp edit all the video that were going to be edited onto the web, edited and uploaded. These people were showing up with like Windows boxes. Some guy had a Linux computer. Somebody else had a Mac. All these people had all these different devices, but none of them had any type of video editing software, yet they wanted to help out by editing video. So you have people that show up that go, I want to take photos for your event. And you're like, that's great. Get your camera out. And they're like, actually, I don't have a camera. You're like, well, how are you going to take photos of the event? And, then they pull out their 6-year-old, flip phone, and they're like,
right.
okay, well, I'll take pictures for you. Not everyone has the tools that they need to be able to get the job done.
Often the people who have, I'm going to say something controversial, people who don't have funds are usually willing to help with their person.
It's like they're offset. Yeah.
Right. So like I have a smartphone, but my husband didn't have a smartphone because I thought it was a waste of money to spend on a data plan for a phone I knew he didn't know how to use. And he said, I just want one to take pictures. I was like, I mean, so we got him an iPad, and then he basically used it to play solitaire. Okay.
Right.
I couldn't get him to use it to take pictures. So sometimes it's like a person's willing to help and they don't have. So, I mean, an easy way to overcome that would be to just have those burner phones available. Yeah. But also, as far as tools go, I mean, you probably remember the days, like you and I both have a church background, so I'm defaulting to things that I know. But live stream was like the only way to get a church sermon online, right? I go to the tiniest church ever now. It's 20 people, and that's literally what happens. She has a tripod with this, and she does Facebook Live.
Right? Yeah, it's like, okay, here we go. It's all good to go, and that's it.
It's funny because like WordPress democratizing publishing, right? And I saw this interview with Matt Mullenweg saying, everybody should be able to publish like TechCrunch. Everybody should be able to have a website like TechCrunch, right?
Right.
So we all have the tools that anybody with the funds has with social media, right? We don't, as long as you have a signal, you can do Facebook Live. You can do, can you do YouTube Live from your phone? I think you can.
Yep.
So there's a lot of ways to broadcast your event. And so like, back in the day when I was in children's ministry, we had harvest festivals and stuff. That would have been fun to show the kids playing the games or whatever. Now with kids, it's kind of a thing. Like I would be careful about the photography. But and I've been at nonprofit conferences where they said, well, my audience can't be shown. That's fine because there's privacy concerns for especially minors or victims of abuse of some kind. That you have to be really careful about that, but you can talk to the volunteers.
Right.
Don't forget the source of user-generated content. When you hear somebody saying that the reason why they come and give is because of when you hear that, it's just really interesting. And I'll segue a little bit in a tiny bit of a self-promotional vein. So the WordPress community marketing team that I'm part of has put out a call to action asking meetup organizers to record video for meetups to give testimonials on why meetups are really important, right? So our phase 2 idea, I was talking to Andrea Middleton about this. A lot of people contribute to WordPress and they don't even realize that they're doing it.
Yeah.
They don't think that they're a contributor. But this project is run in a grassroots style. It's 14, it just turned 14. And there's a lot of people that contribute, and a lot of times they don't consider themselves contributors. So our second phase, that not officially, obviously, because we haven't had our second marketing meeting, but this is what we want to do. Is we want to do the second phase, saying, what was your first contribution to WordPress, and when did you do it? And I just think it's so amazing, because you hear these developers saying, oh, I found a semicolon that was missing. Or even with Jen and I writing copy for 4.8, we didn't even think we were contributors. And then we're like, we see props. So like, what does that mean? Does that mean something? We're just doing what we do in the marketing team. We just write copy, right? We don't, oh, this is what it does. Super cool, whatever, And so the thing is, recognizing that volunteer groups, what I'm saying, and then having a testimonial of it encourages other people in a like me fashion. Where, like, what I would love is somebody saying, oh, if Bridget can do that, then I can do that, right? Then my contribution is even more valuable if it inspires somebody else, right? So in every nonprofit event, there's going to be those volunteers. At Nonprofit Chat on Wednesday morning, one of the ladies works for a symphony, and so their volunteers get to see a concert for free, right? And a lot of times they're related to the performers. So it's really neat, because they get some value out of it too, and they get to see their relative performing in this concert. So there's a lot of ways to motivate people, but you have to just make sure that when you're recruiting, you can say, why did you do this, and why was it important to you? Why are you giving your time? And our time is so valuable. That's the only resource that's not sustainable. Once this hour is gone, it's gone forever, and we can never get it back, right? So people's time shows that they're really interested. And here's the thing, Jason, there's been studies that show millennials especially, whereas Gen X and boomers, we're fine writing a check. Like, here's the check, go do your thing. Millennials want to volunteer and be involved in the causes that they support. In fact, they'll go one step further. They want to work for the causes that they support.
Right.
So when you're talking about events, you're also looking for a recruiting base, potentially. So the people that are volunteering and attending your events could also be the people who volunteer next year, or could be people who might help you with your foundation.
And that's what helps. That's what helps a lot with having to not have to ramp up those people for the next year, because if they've done it the previous year, this next year they're going to say, I need you to go do this thing. I need you to go and write me 300 words about this event that's happening, or this one section of the event that's happening. And then I want you to send it to me. I want you to put it into Dropbox. I want you to put it into Google Docs, whatever it is. And then I'll post it onto social media. So you have that one person that's going to be the one person kind of herding all the cats.
Yep.
And then they'll push that information out there. I like what you're saying about getting people to do the things that they're really good at. It's tough because most people want to do what's the most fun. And sometimes the most fun thing is the boringest thing for somebody who doesn't do that sort of, like, they look at it and they go like, you want me to run around and take pictures of a bunch of people? I'm really good at photography, but I really take pictures of objects. I don't take pictures of people. It's like you have those sorts of things. Or I hate writing bios about all these people. I really want to be the guy who's running around with a video camera taking videos of stuff.
Right.
So ask them what they're into and kind of figure out, is that the thing that they're going to be able to do? And especially like you were saying, if they've done it the previous year, ask them, did you enjoy doing that? Or do you want to do that again? And that might be your way of, kind of hooking them back in and saying, hey, you want to help us out again next year?
Absolutely. We had a call this morning this afternoon, actually, with one of our Give users, waterfirst.org. It was really interesting because they have this initiative where they do education in schools about why water is so important in undeveloped countries, and the way that they do it. They partner with the locality forever. They don't just go in there and put a hand pump. They pipe it out. They have a faucet, a tap, and a toilet. And then they plan to be there for 10, 20, 50 years. So when they said that they had trouble reaching adults because adults get really overwhelmed. I feel like a lot of times it's like a compassion fatigue almost, like there's just so much hurt in the world. It's overwhelming. But for the youth, they see that there's possibilities. So they have these middle school and high school kids on boards. And then they have trips where they get to go see the infrastructure being built in these countries.
Oh, that's cool.
Right now they're in Mozambique. They just started in Mozambique, but they're in Honduras and in Ethiopia. And as she was talking to us, Jason Cannell asked her, what do you see as a result of that? She says, 8 feet behind me is an intern that used to be on one of our boards. And now,
Wow.
just people are graduating from college and deciding what they want to do. So if your nonprofit is a long-term investment, then those volunteers are going to grow up with you, and whether they're kids or not. The things that matter, especially if it's a passion project, especially if you really overlap with your values, that you're going to have that support forever. For me, I do social media for the homeless ministry. I'm not able to go there anymore, but for 15 years, I was there every Friday night in one way or another, either passing out toiletries or egg salad sandwiches or playing music or teaching the kids. Now I'm not able to do that anymore, but I still do the social media and the website. So none of those people want to do it, and it's fun for me, right? So it's like, I used to think, if you're not knocking on the doors inviting people, then you're not doing a good job. But what I really am good at is the social media. So it took me a long time to find that out by experience, because you feel like that's the only work, but there's a lot of work you can do: writing, photography, social media, videography. That's all ways to support nonprofits, and a lot of times nonprofits don't have that. And I'm discovering from Nonprofit Chat on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock in the morning on Pacific time on Twitter, that there's a lot of social media managers, just like we know web developers, Jason. There are lots of social media managers who do pro bono work for nonprofits.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're good at. And that's our way of giving back. So there's a resource. If you ask, there's going to be somebody or one of your board members know who has. You'll find people. There's people who really believe in what you're doing, and there's a whole network. Ask a social media person. It's like that old picture of the operator with all of the holes for the cables.
Yep.
That's what we are. We know people. Like, if you are looking for somebody, just ask, because it's, people want to help you. It's like, don't hide your donation button. Don't not ask, because people want to help you. Those events are really important, but when they're having fun like that at your event and they feel valued and like they did something, man, that's the best feeling in the world.
Bridget, let's talk about tools.
More tools, yes.
Yes. People, when they watch these shows, they love hearing about all the cool stuff that we're using in order to be able to pull these things off. So one of the ones that I used today.
Don't forget these.
Yep.
Selfie sticks. They're important.
One of the software pieces that I used to do a little bit of a promotional today was I use this app called Ripple, RIPL. And what Ripple does is it takes a little video or photo or something that you have, a bunch of photos if you want, and it'll make a little video for you that you could share on social media. So it's quick and easy. It's super fast. They have a it's like a freemium model where you can download it and use it for free, and they'll put a little icon on there saying, hey, we used your product. But outside of that, it's pretty simple and it's pretty easy to use.
Is it web-based or app-based?
It's app-based on iPhone and Android. So that one's great.
Yep.
Another tool that I use is I have the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, and one of the apps that I use a whole bunch on that is Lightroom. So if you're using Lightroom on your computer, you can also install Lightroom on your iPhone. And I love using that. Between that and Snapseed, I'm able to kind of do a lot of my photo editing quickly and easily. I still kind of go back to my old standby for photography stuff, which is Camera Plus. Camera Plus is just, you hit the little clarity button, you drag it down a little bit so it's not so crazy, but it gives you a little bit of that extra kind of nice edges around things. It kind of darkens the dark parts and lightens the light parts and just kind of makes everything pop a little bit more.
Jason,
So,
is that a filtering tool or a photo taking tool?
I use it for photo editing. You can use it as a camera app as well. I tend to not use anything other than the built-in iPhone app to take photos. But yeah, it's a one of those types of things is a great tool for that. The other thing I've been using quite a bit, especially since at the church we're a Google Apps or Google G Suites shop, is that we use Google Photos for uploading our photos.
Yep.
So if you have one of those accounts, you can, I call it making a sacrificial account, but make an account on your nonprofit account that has like 30 gigs on there for free. Use that as your photos account and just throw all your photos in there. So it's real quick and easy for people to upload those photos and be able to kind of get them all nice and clean. Then let somebody else download them, pretty them up, and then put them up onto social. The other thing I use is I have a mirrorless camera. It's made by Panasonic, and the Panasonic has an app called Image App that lets you just download the images quickly and easily over Wi-Fi. Most newer cameras nowadays have Wi-Fi enabled stuff. So if you have one of those, you can use a really great lens, take some really great pictures, download them quickly, send them off to Google Photos or whatever, Dropbox, whatever you're using to kind of bring all that stuff and allow people to be able to make those changes to those files and get them uploaded. The other thing I would say is that to really make all this stuff happen is you either have to have a really good cell phone connection or a really good Wi-Fi connection. If you're at a location that doesn't have good Wi-Fi, but you want to provide good Wi-Fi, I wouldn't worry at all about the people that are attending. They'll figure out their own way of getting Wi-Fi, but make sure you have some type of staff Wi-Fi that's available that the people that are staff and volunteers are able to hop onto. It makes uploading these files really quick and easy, and you don't have to worry about a whole bunch of craziness. The other thing is that make sure you have a couple backups. So use one of these to get a bunch of hard drives together and use these as a way of being able to store that data, so that way you're not losing any of the stuff. Because the last thing you want to do is have an event and not have a good backup of all of the content that you did because somebody's computer crashed in the middle of the event and now you don't have any backups.
Yep. I have some more tools.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so as far as photography goes, I use an app that costs $2 called Pro HDRX, and that helps anytime there's something that's backlit. So sunsets, dusk, taking pictures where it's really hard to see speakers. Also, Sketch is great for like adding quick notes on things, like this is where you park. I also use Quick, which will let you put text and InstaQuote. I also use Layout and Live Collage to make collages. And my super favorite is Canva. I love Canva.
Canva's good stuff.
Yep.
We use Canva for all the stuff here.
Jeff Hester saves the day. I was spending the last 46 minutes trying to remember Tagboard. Tagboard.com is a great tool for aggregating publicly posted hashtag content from Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. But it has to be public. If it's not public, it won't appear.
Which is really difficult when it comes to Instagram, because most people's Instagrams, they make them private, and then you wonder why why is it that none of these people are posting anything on Instagram? And then you're like, oh, it's because all these people have private Instagram
Same with
accounts.
Facebook. That's why I said Twitter.
Yep.
Most people use it public. I mean, seriously, if you have a private Twitter account, why? There's no reason. You can find another network.
Right.
But that's another great tool. And then of course, Facebook Pages app, because if you have a nonprofit, I hope that you have a nonprofit Facebook page so that you can go live as that Facebook page. You could be doing interviews. When I was at the Impact Symposium nonprofit panel, people said, how would you use Facebook Live for a nonprofit event? How would you not use it? I mean, I would definitely think of every red carpet event you've seen. What happens? You turn on Entertainment Tonight or whatever show it is now. I don't even know, TMZ. I don't watch these shows. But they go, hey, tell us about your dress. Are you really excited about the release of Star Wars? Whatever. Like, as people come in, you interview them. And you can do that on Facebook Live. Either you can do it by holding your camera to yourself, or you could be filming somebody else. You could have a 2-man crew, reporter style. It could be 1, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You can Facebook Live the keynote. You could Facebook Live the end of your bowling tournament. I mean, there's so much you can do on Facebook Live. The only thing is, you might have situations where you have waivers. Like for WordCamps, it says when you buy this ticket, you know that you're in a public place. There will be photography that will be used, blah, 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 blah. So basically, if you're in the witness protection program, you really shouldn't go to a WordCamp. But in all seriousness, no, because or whatever, and there's people that are hiding from stalkers. You shouldn't go. But there's things like that where, like we have a battered women's shelter locally called Laura's House. So they have a thrift store. So if they have an event there, that's fine. But you can't do that. We're protecting these people's location, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, obviously my disclaimer is be sensitive to the demographic and their actual needs. But those tools are great. Instagram also has live. Now, I'm not sure that Instagram allows you to keep those videos, but you can go live on Instagram. I just think Facebook is sticky and it's better. And here's the thing, I've done it a couple of times for Women Who WP. Once you go live and you keep the video, you can promote it. You can throw $10 at it, and then you can promote your Facebook post specifically geolocated, right? So on Samantha's speech, I spent $14 promoting it to people who like WordPress within a 20-mile radius of Fountain Valley. Like that. So if you have events, you're probably local based. That's a good way to use your Facebook Live video again. And then, of course, you can embed that video on your blog. Yep. Right? So it's still a WordPress show. We still want you blogging about these events. Embed this media. Embed all the things. Facebook isn't an embed thing. You have to like iframe, but iframely.com for the win.
Yep. No, I think there's plenty of ways to get this kind of content out there for people to be able to see. Like I said, good photos is great. Good video is great. Bridget and I did as a test. They made it so that Facebook does Facebook Live now off of a page. So I went onto WPwatercooler page off my iPhone. I loaded it up. I told her, "Hey, I need you to join the event." She goes and joins the video, the live stream, and then I tapped on her face and I said, "Add her as a participant," and then she was a participant, and we are able to have one of these, but side by side. And I'll put the link in the show notes for you to be able to look at that video. Video worked out really well, but it's one of those things that you can use quickly and easily to kind of get a couple people in there to be able to talk about, or get 2 people in there to talk about an event or talk about something that's leading up to that event. So that way you can kind of use that as a promotional material or something like that. Yeah. One of the things I ended up doing when I did that is I went and downloaded the video from Facebook. I loaded up in the QuickTime. I just kind of trimmed it out real quick, and then uploaded the video back up to Facebook again. And I even used it on Twitter as well as just a way to kind of promote this and say, hey, we're going to be doing this event. Come check out the video that we're doing. So
We don't have that much time left, but can you mention the app that you use that will dictate the transcription?
Yeah. So the Apple recently came out with a app called Clips, and what Clips does is it takes your video, but it also listens as you're talking, and it transcribes everything that you're saying using kind of like the Siri dictation. So you have to be really careful. Kind of, you don't want to sit there and sound like a robot and enunciate every single word that you're saying, but you can definitely go and edit those things as well. So if you're what I ended up doing is writing a script, and I just read from the script. And then when I was done, I took my script and I just pasted it back into the thing,
Oh,
and I kind of hit those different time codes at the right spot. It took a little while longer, but it was, ridiculously accurate as to what I was saying. And what's nice about this stuff is, we live in a world now and with Facebook where people want to watch the video, but they're at work and they can't actually listen to the thing,
right.
or they're standing in front of the grocery store and they just want to watch the video real quick. Taking that 1 minute video or 30-second video or whatever, and being able to quickly and easily be able to get that video out there, but also make it so that it has baked in closed captioning on top of it,
yes,
is perfect for that. So that particular app is totally free. You can just download it in the App Store on the iPhone. There's nothing cool like that on Android that I know of, but the one for the iPhone, Clips, is awesome for that.
Yeah, I tried it. I don't enunciate very well, but I did finally, after asking you 100 times, figure out how to.
Yeah, you double tap and then you just type over the words.
Edit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when I really wanted my keyboard, but I could see, there was just some edit because I don't enunciate. Like, wow, man, now I understand what my mom kept saying. Enunciate, enunciate.
Yep. Yeah. At some point, you're gonna be talking to a little, a woman in a tube, and she's gonna be ordering stuff from you on Amazon. And if you tell it that you want a very particular thing, and you end up with getting something different put into your shopping cart. So yeah, these are the types of things that are really great for being able to do this stuff for social media event or for events that you are trying to promote on social media. I urge you to go take a look at our show notes. We had some really great folks that are helping us out with our show notes. We'll have links to all the different products and services and apps and all the fun stuff that we do.
And then if you have sponsors or people that donated things for a silent auction, you can also use social media to thank them.
Yep.
Right? So, yes. And individually.
Yeah, and even on Facebook Live, if you're using Facebook Live to do that sort of thing, there's actually a button that's on Facebook Live that's called products. And if you push the products button while you're doing the Facebook Live event, you can actually pop in a product link with a description and an image and all those sorts of things. So if you're wanting to really showcase that product that's going on there, you can definitely use that as your way to kind of push those folks to go take a look at this stuff. And also use campaign tags for that, so that way those folks know that you're going to those links via your particular event.
Jeff in the chat, who's been super awesome asking these questions. Hi, Jeff Hester. You're famous from with my friends. I haven't met you yet. How do you get sponsors? So I know a lot of it is just asking. Do you know any magic?
Since WPBlab is so sponsor rich, and we have so much sponsors that are coming in that are helping our for-profit venture here, which we're doing a really great job of profiting. I don't know what the answer is to that when it comes to sponsors. I think the thing that you're wanting to look for when it comes to sponsors is you're trying to find things that are compatible with that particular event that you're doing. So if it's going to be a dog park, maybe you need to get dog walkers to be sponsors for the event. And maybe you want to get people that sell dog bones and people that sell dog leashes and people that sell, all those sorts of things that kind of complement it. And that makes it really easy, because then you're saying, you know what, your audience are the people that are going to be going to this event are your audience, are your target demographic, because obviously they're going to want to use this particular product because they're going to this event. So something like that would probably be the best way to approach that, is trying to find folks that complement the stuff. The other thing is even look through your donor list and ask your donors, or ask the people that are running your donor list, who is it that's donated or maybe has donated a while back and say, we want to help you out as well. So how about you sponsor us and we'll make sure that you scratch your back and we'll scratch yours, kind of thing. So
yeah, because you do have to give them something in return, because they're going to have to justify the cost if they're not already just, like I went to a beauty pageant in Fountain Valley, and there were sponsors. The sponsors got to give the awards to the recipients, right? And it said so and so from Kia, Honda, whatever, right. And we do that at WordCamps too. They get certain level, gets a booth, you get to go to this special activity. So getting a sponsor and giving them VIP access, like maybe a pre-event dinner with just the sponsors and like if it is a dog fundraiser or opening for the dog park, the sponsors get to mingle and be there first. They get to be part of the ribbon cutting, that kind of thing. Whatever, something extra, because that will help them use the cause marketing for their own promotional advantage, right? So as much as we would like to think that businesses are altruistic, some of them are, but usually it's part of their marketing program to be involved with a cause that's like them and overlaps with their values. But you still have to allow them to use that event in their own marketing campaigns. So I would definitely personally ask them. And I know that Creature Comforts Beer in Athens, Georgia wanted to help nonprofits in their area. They didn't know what to do. So they went to a kind of chamber of commerce-like place that helped match people up with nonprofits, and then so sometimes there are companies that are looking to sponsor, but they don't know who needs help, right? And you know what nonprofits are the worst at? Asking for help. We're terrible. We don't like asking for help. We don't like asking for money, but we need both. And it's really hard. I came across an organization yesterday in a nonprofit chat called Just Giving, and their whole existence is to match nonprofits up with volunteers. It's almost like a headhunter for volunteers, right? So a lot of times you do have to ask, and I would start local. I would start at your chamber of commerce. I would start at the businesses and your friends and say, hey, I want to do this. Would you like to sponsor and be in the ground floor with me? And also make different levels. Like maybe somebody wants to give you $200. They can't give you $2,000. So do you want to not have the 200? My saying in our family is a fast nickel beats a slow dime, right? So make the sponsorships tiered. And I think that you might get a lot more of those 200 levels than the 2,000. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So hopefully that helps, Jeff. Those are some quick ideas because we're hitting the clock over here.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to add regarding that is there's a website that it's the National Council of Nonprofits. It's over at councilofnonprofits.org. There's a link over there regarding corporate sponsorship and how you should approach corporate sponsorship, what the benefits are for a corporation to sponsor a particular event, as well as various best practices and ways in which you can approach them. So I'll make sure to put that link in the show notes as well, because you should look at the big nonprofit type things, because this isn't their first rodeo, and it's definitely should not be. You shouldn't feel like that you're the only person that's kind of trailblazing to kind of make this type of thing happen. So look at the other folks that are doing this sort of thing and see who are their sponsors. How can you kind of tap into those resources and see if they can help you out as well? Bridget, man, we did an hour. We could have totally done the old school format and knocked out like an hour and a half, and we probably would still have a zillion things to talk about.
I know. I think that I need to embed this in a blog post and write it up on givewp.com. I feel like there's so many ideas asking for sponsors in your marketing is true for nonprofits, or that could be a whole different show. We have an amazing community. I love the chat. I really appreciate everybody showing up. It's great. This makes my Thursday night. I'm going to be sad not being here when I'm at WordCamp Europe. Yep. I tried to figure it out, but it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning. Who knows if the Wi-Fi in the hotel is good?
Oh boy.
It's not going to work.
Yeah. All right, folks, that's about it for today. Thank you very much for watching this particular episode of WPBlab. If you like this particular content and you like the type of stuff that we do here, we also do this stuff on Fridays for WP Watercoolers, so go check that out as well. And Bridget does a show on WP Watercooler Network as well called Community Connections. You can go check that out as well. It's on Thursdays. We have a couple of those shows in the can. You should definitely go check those out. Go over to our website at WPwatercooler.com and click on the links there to subscribe. If you like this particular content, hit the little thumbs up button. We really appreciate it. That's on YouTube. And if you enjoy this stuff on any of the podcast players that you listen to, feel free to leave us a review on there. We don't usually ask for reviews on those particular things, but man, our podcasts are starting to pick up and we're starting to get quite a few people watching and listening to that stuff. So we really appreciate that. Lastly, if you love this stuff, tell somebody else about it. Send a link out and say, hey, you run a nonprofit. These people have been talking about nonprofit stuff. You should go check this stuff out. Feel free to post this stuff on Facebook. Feel free to post this stuff on Twitter. Send this stuff out into your newsletters. Whatever it is you got to do to be able to help us help other people out.
Yes.
Again, we don't have any sponsors currently. If you at some point want to sponsor us, maybe feel free to approach us as well. We would totally appreciate that. Go over to our website at wpwatercooler.com/subscribe, and that's where you can learn about all the different ways that you can subscribe to this awesome content that Bridget and I put out every single week. Bridget, thank you very much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. You have a good rest of your night.
You too. See ya.
Bye.